Quasi here, and in this video, I want to share with you why you can't achieve your goals and this concept of an inner conflict. How there are two versions of you always fighting, and how this old self always wins. And because this old self always wins, and you have this subconscious conflict within you all the time, you're not able to move the swiftest path to your goals. You'll always find that you will move 2 steps forward and eventually, over a long period of time, take 2 steps backwards. This is the sole reason why I was stuck in my business at a certain level for a very, very long time, because I saw that I didn't have the awareness to feed the self that I wanted to become, but rather kept falling back into my comfort zone, this old self. So by the end of this video, you're going to learn what the key is to help you break through. Stop feeding that old self, stop resisting that old self, and permanently become this 2.0 version of yourself. Before I begin this video, I want to quickly announce that I made a brand new training video for you, a boot camp that has 5 of our best videos in it. So if you click on the link in the description below, you'll be able to access that boot camp, and it's basically like a mini course. So just click below, you'll be able to access that right now. So with that, let's get started. In this video, I want to talk to you about this concept of this inner conflict and why this is the worst thing that can happen to you, and why most people don't know how to navigate this inner conflict. There are 2 voices in your head, one telling you what the right thing to do is, and one telling you what the wrong thing to do is. And most of the time we feed the wrong voice. And for most people, there's like a million different voices, right? And the key is, how do you find out which voice to feed, what the right thing to do is? And we're going to be discussing that in this video, right? So to really begin, I want to talk to you about how we fail to move because there's an incongruence between our desires and our intentions, okay? So due to incongruence, you'll always find that you'll move, you'll always feel this inner conflict, right? So to give you an example, when I started off in my business, I was thinking about a business and I was trying out different business opportunities for like 9 months or even a year, right? And I wanted to make money, but I was afraid to invest in myself, and I always played small, right? My desire was to make money and have a successful business, but I wanted it right now, and I wanted it the easy way. I didn't want to do anything uncomfortable to get it. I don't want to go out there and network. I don't want to invest in courses and programs. I was always very, very stingy and holding back, right? I was always pinching pennies and trying to save up money instead of, taking the risks that I needed to take in order to get there. So because of that, you can see that my intentions are not aligned in the direction of making money, even though it seemed like it for me. It seemed like it for me because I was unaware at that time, and I was asleep and I didn't know, right? So my intention did not match my desire. And when this happens, you'll never move forward, right? You'll always have a conflict. Because deep down, you know that you need to do something, but you just can't quite do it, right? So think about it this way. How many times in your life have you seen that, I know what I need to do. I just know I need to do this, but I just can't seem to get myself to do it. Why does this happen? It's because of this inner conflict that you have. And let's get to that by understanding where this original intention arises in the first place. Why isn't it easy to change your intention to, I want to make money, so I want to become the person that invests money into myself and invests into myself. So in order to investigate that, we've got to understand where these intentions come up from in the first place. So we will do this by understanding the concept of an identity, okay? So your intentions result from programming at an identity level. Right? What do I mean by that? Well, think about it this way. If you're a fit person, if you identify as a person who's athletic and fit and a gym goer, it's going to be much easier for you to have the intention of going to the gym, have the intention of working out, right? So if you're a fit person, it's natural that you work out. If you're a smoker, it's natural that you smoke. So all of these things become a natural habit. All of these intentions become natural when you identify as a certain self. Throughout your whole life, how you've been living up until this point, as you've been living asleep, as you've been collecting different things, all of these things have formed a part of your identity. And the fact that I couldn't invest in myself was because I grew up seeing my dad to be like very stingy. You know, he was very stingy and he didn't want to spend money. So that was like my programming as well. And because of that, I was afraid to lose money. I just wanted to hold on to it, right? And I saw that that was harming me, okay? Living like that was actually harming me and preventing me from moving forward. And this realization only came through awareness, through taking a step back from myself. Most of the time, you're not able to see your patterns because you operate from your patterns. You're not able to see your identity because you can't take a step back from it. You operate from a place of this identity. Do you see what I mean? Think about someone who's really ignorant, right? Like you can see that they're making a mistake and they're doing the wrong thing, but they have to make the mistake in order to see that they made the mistake. Do you see what I mean? Because if someone is ignorant, if someone is operating and they're so asleep, they're so identified with who they currently are, they'll never be able to take a step back and be like, oh, this pattern is hurting me. It takes a lot of sincerity to be able to admit your shortcomings. Most people can't do that. So now the question becomes, how do we change this core programming? How do we change this core identity that's kept us, this inner conflict and this incongruence? I'm going to use a case study to explain this to you from our customer community. A lot of things that we've noticed in the kind of customers that we've had. And this is going to be a particularly business example of a person who wants to hit a 10K month in their business. Let's just get right to it. So let's say you're a person who wants to have a successful business. You want to have that freedom. You want to make more money. You want to do something that fulfills you every single day rather than something you were programmed to do. And your goal is to have a business that does $10,000 a month. Okay. Now, what you're seeing right now, the big problem is that you have tried different business opportunities, right? You've tried drop shipping, you've tried Amazon FBA, you've tried all of the different business opportunities. You've tried starting an agency, you've tried starting a coaching business. None of it really works. And you just declare that it doesn't work. To you, it appears that it doesn't work. And then you jump from one opportunity to the next. But now let's say you have, or also you're someone who has this current business and you're inconsistent in it. 1 month you make some money, next month you don't. And then it's just 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. You make 5K, you make 8K, kind of like where I was when I started my business. 1 month I'd make 5K, then I'd get to 8K, I'd get so close to hitting that 10K, but I'd come back down. And it would be just 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Up and down, up and down. I even had points where I just went back and hit 0, right? So this is what the problem is to you, what it appears like to you. Now let's talk about what's really happening and why these things are happening in the first place. So when you see these problems, right, what's happening right now is these problems arise because of a certain intention that you have. Your intention is to get to a 10K month business as quick as possible, but you don't understand what it takes to be someone who is worthy of making a 10K month. Your identity right now is not that of a 10K a month business owner, but it is that of what you were previously, what you were comfortably accomplishing. If you were effortlessly achieving 10K a month, you would be the person that the identity of a 10K a month business owner. Do you see what I mean? Just like you have the identity of a fit, athletic person or the identity of a smoker, you have the identity of a 10K a month business owner. So number one, what's happening is you are your old self, who you don't want to be right now, who you must shed right now, okay? And what's happening is all of your actions, all of the problems that are arising are because of this incongruence, okay? You feel this inner conflict of jumping from different business opportunities to business opportunity, and in your current business, you're inconsistent because you start doubting it. You're like, I don't know if this is the right business, and because you doubt it, you can't commit to it fully. You can't give it the commitment that it needs to help it move to the 10K a month mark. So there is this old self and there is the new self that you sort of know you've got to become, right? There's not a clear picture of it, but just a sort of subtle, hazy picture of it. The self that you've got to move towards. What's happening is all of your actions, all of your intentions are being shaped by the identity of the old self. Okay? When you jump from one business opportunity to the next, you sort of see that, oh, the results aren't coming quick enough. I've been conditioned by working a 9-to-5 job that if I do a week's worth of work, I'll get results from it. If I do a month's worth of work, then I'll get some sort of a paycheck from it. But as a business owner, the harsh reality is, sometimes it doesn't come within a month, within even 6 months. Sometimes you've got to work a couple of years, but then it compounds up on itself, right? You move very, very quickly. You don't understand that because you're in that old self. Okay, this is a particular scenario, but this is the general principle of what usually happens. So because you're in your old self, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions all get influenced by this old self. And you don't have the necessary awareness to wake up and see what's happening. Okay, and that's why you can't become this new self. So in order to take on a different life path, right, to go from one level to another, to go from a 5K a month business owner to a 10K a month to a 20K a month, what's simply got to happen is you've just got to become that person that achieves that. So the first step would always be getting clear on who you've got to become, right? The second step is always shedding this old self. And the third step is finding a way to consolidate this new self and not moving back to the old self. The biggest mistake, the biggest pitfall most make, which keeps them falling back, and I made this mistake as well, is you always try to resist this old self. You always try to fight this old self, Whenever you're having all of these doubts and fears, instead of easing into and surrendering to the doubts and fears, surrendering them completely, what most people do is they try to resist it and fight it. They're like, oh, I shouldn't be having this fear. I shouldn't be having this doubt. This isn't natural. I don't know why this happens, maybe because of societal standards and what you see. You never really see what's happening behind the scenes, but it creates an expectation of it shouldn't be like this. Oh, if this was meant for me, it'll happen very, very naturally. But that's rarely the case. You'll always face all of these obstacles and challenges. But because you don't know what to expect, your expectations are grossly skewed, you start to fight them. And then you inevitably fall back into the old self, right? So this lack of focus on what you're doing right now is preventing you from committing to it fully. Because you're not really the new self. You're always like in this middle ground between old self and new self, right? So the key part, I think 80% of the work really is just dissolving that old self, getting rid of that old self. Now let's talk about how you can do that. There's just one simple key to doing this. How you dissolve this old self is whenever it shows up, whenever you start to have those doubts and resistances, the first natural thing that you do is you resist the resistance. You're like, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this. This isn't right because of my expectations. Then you fight that. Then you have a negative about a negative, and you create this compound effect, and the internal battle gets very, very strong. Instead, the best thing to do is to just accept it. Accept and embrace it without labeling it. So why I say this last piece without labeling it is because whenever you label a feeling as this is fear, and this is doubt, and this is this, and this is that, you don't really feel fear, you don't really feel doubt. You feel the tightness that it brings, right? You feel the effects of it. But because you hold on to it and you keep expecting to feel it more and more, you give it a label so that next time you feel it, you recognize it. That just makes it easier. But instead of doing that, because when we do that, we sort of hold on to it, right? We keep it in our psyche so that it comes up later on. Instead of doing that, accept what's happening right now. Accept that you're uncertain. Accept that you don't know what's going to happen. This could, become another failed business opportunity, or this could lead you well into success. Both could happen, but you can't see it, so you can't make a judgment about it. This is how you become intensely present to the moment and just be with what is. When you be with what is, the old self, when it tries to attack and it's like, this isn't natural for me, I'm supposed to be doing that, what was comfortable for me this whole time, what I've been trained to do. This old self starts to dissolve because you no longer feed the resistance. By not labeling it, by not resisting it, you don't feed it anymore. You just suffocate it. And when you suffocate it, it has no choice but to disperse and dissolve. Right? That's literally 80% of the work done. The rest of it is a story for another day. Becoming the new self, getting clear on that. I've made tons of videos about that. If you click up here, you'll be able to check that out. But for now, what I want you to do is just accept and embrace what is. And focus on what you do want. Focus on what is wanted. What's not clear right now will become clearer. You just need to be patient. Just be patient, accept the resistance, keep doing what you're doing, and when ideas come, act on them. Don't be quick to rush into action either, because that's how you jump into one opportunity to the next. You just have to be very, very clear on what you want, because without clarity, nothing will happen, right? Without clarity, you're always going to get distracted. So I would say, just to end things off really quickly, which you're going to see in one of the videos if you click up here, number 2 is just focus on what is wanted. This is all you need to do. You accept what is right now, and you're seeing that you're getting the things that you don't want right now. That's okay, accept it. But your focus is always diverted on what is wanted instead. Because if you don't do that, if you start to resist what is, you're always going to be focused on what you don't want. And life doesn't care about the nature of your focus, it cares about the content of your focus. Whatever you're focused on that you don't want, you'll get. Whatever you're focused on that you want, you'll get. So attribute more of the energy of your focus to what you do want. And that's why when I was focused on not losing money, then I started to not make money. I was sacrificing the opportunity cost, right? When I focus on holding on to money, most of the time the money just goes away anyways. You don't make more money, you don't move towards it. Whatever you're focused on, you'll get. So with that, I conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching. I know this was kind of a little bit heavy to digest, but what I really want you to take away from this video is just understanding that 80% of the work is done through accepting completely, radical acceptance of what is right now. And then focusing on what you do want. Because otherwise, all of your thoughts, all of your emotions, all of your intentions come from this old self. Because you keep unconsciously feeding it. So let's do a quick recap of what we talked about. Today we talked about this concept of an inner conflict, why there's a battle between the two selves. And by the way, I don't just see it in people who are making 10K a month in their businesses. People who've made 100K a month for several months have this sort of doubt and inner conflict because they don't know what to do next to move forward. So they think, oh, you know what? Maybe I should try a shiny object. Maybe I should try this next business opportunity. Maybe I should try something that's scalable. They quickly declare that what they're doing right now isn't scalable, right? It's a trap that everyone falls into. And because every single business opportunity actually works, that's why it's so dangerous, right? You could do anything and be really good at it if you just focus on it. But because people don't focus on it long enough, they don't become successful. That's really it. So, number 1 is people fail to move towards what they want because of this incongruence between their desires and what they intend. Your desire is to make money, but your intentions arise from the identity of someone who holds on to the money that they have, who's focused on pinching pennies, not making money. So, to give you another example, a lot of entrepreneurs are more focused on saving money on taxes than actually making money on their businesses. So they'll do every little thing to try and save on taxes and pay less taxes. More time and focus is spent saving money on taxes than growing their businesses. Intentions, whatever intention you have, results from how you've been programmed, what you identify as. You know, in different areas of your life, you'll identify as a different person. This is the different egos that you have, modes of operation that you have. A fit person will always work out. A smoker will naturally smoke. If you identify as someone who's making 10K a month, you'll make 10K a month. And the case study that we looked at was this person who wants to make 10K a month and who's had the problem of trying different business opportunities, nothing sticks, and in their current business, they're stuck at 5K a month, 6K a month, and then they go back down, go back up. They've tried different marketing mentors, they've tried different strategies and tactics, but they don't ever commit and follow through with it because they're not in the identity of a 10K a month business owner. They're not in the identity of a successful business owner. What do successful business owners do? You have to get clear on that. What does the successful version of you look like? You have to get clear on that. And once you do, and your intentions are aligned with what you want, your identity is aligned with what your desire is, you're going to move towards that. Your intentions will naturally follow suit. What's really happening is this old self is much stronger than the new self, right? And this is because you're just asleep. You fall asleep and you operate as this old self, and then you try to do different things from this old place of being. And that's why nothing ever sticks. Whenever the new self tries to arise, you fall back into the doubts and fears because there's always going to be a resistance because you're not accustomed to being this self. You're not accustomed to acting like that. Your actions have got to be different. But then over time, this is where the concept of faking it till you make it comes in. Over time, it becomes natural. But it takes some time to be conditioned and programmed. Another big mistake people make is they resist this old self. They focus on saving taxes instead of growing the business. They focus on the wrong things. When you resist this old self, you make it stronger. So the key is to accept and embrace. Okay? Accept the doubts. Embrace the doubts. But it's going to happen. I can't tell you for how long I've tried to make ads profitable. Like I've tried for a year. After a year of spending money and just throwing money away, basically, we got it profitable. But I had to persist on that. And I had to operate from that new self. And I had to learn the lessons that I needed to learn. I had to embrace the uncertainty. I didn't know what was going to happen. But you've got to be patient with it. Most people aren't patient. And number 2, focus on what is wanted. Every single day, focus on what is wanted. What do I want? I want this to be profitable. I want this to work. And if it wasn't right for me, I would have known. And there were moments where I had doubts. But I let those doubts be. I embraced them. Again, the doubts are the old self rearing its ugly head. With that, I conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope this was helpful. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought of this, if this was beneficial to you, what kind of videos you'd like me to make. And also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that little bell there so you're notified of any new video that I put out. And also, the free consult for the Reality Mastery Program for mentorship with me is now open. Just click on the link in the description to sign up and schedule your free call with us to see if we're a good fit to work together. Now, who we typically work with are people who are entrepreneurs and business owners who are stuck at that certain revenue level in their businesses. They want to scale up. They've tried the different tactics and strategies, but what they're seeing is it's not a tactical or strategic problem, but an internal one. They can't take a step back from themselves and identify what it really is. They have an idea. They see that there are all these symptoms of doubts, of fears, of conflicting desires, but they just can't quite get a grasp on who they need to become and how to consolidate that. Okay? That sounds like you. Please click on the link in the description below to sign up. I'm looking forward to seeing how we can help. And also the free Facebook group is open for you to take advantage of. The link for that is also in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Peace!